Housing Development Progress. Number one and the best. Housing Development Progress. Number one. Number one. Housing Development Progress. Number one and the best. Housing Development Progress. Number one. Housing Development Progress. In Nigeria. Housing Development Progress. In Africa. Housing Development Program and the globe. Number one, Housing Development Program.
Hello and welcome to another informative episode of Housing Development, your go-to source for housing information. As always, I am your housing diva, Flora Ani. Coming up, Abuja at 30 settlement, a community plagued with abandoned infrastructure. Our spotlight will also be on the Achalla Community in Anambra State. What are the risks associated with living in slum settlement? These and more will be discussed right after we see the news making rounds in the housing sector. Keep watching Housing Development.
A real estate firm, Ubosi has urged the government to focus on resolving regulatory and legal challenges in the sector. The firm also calls on the government to foster an enabling environment for the private sector to thrive. The firm's principal partner, Emeka Ele, made the call at a real estate webinar themed the 2024 budget and the real estate sector implications. According to him, if there is an enabling environment for the real estate sector, it will enable the private sector to meet the supply side of housing. Given substantial funding constraints, he stressed on the government's inability to solely solve housing and infrastructural issues, adding that more action is needed to address regulatory constraints and create a favorable environment for the private sector. The Association of Estate Agents in Nigeria has blamed poor regulation as the cause behind the ongoing increase in land scams in the country. The chairman of the Conference Planning Committee of the association, Adeniyi Tinubu, stated this at a press conference recently in Lagos. He said the Association of Estate Agents in Nigeria, an association that was birthed by the Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers, advocates for legislative action to unify real estate agencies. They point out the unregulated nature of estate agency leading to issues like land scams, overpriced housing and substandard structures managed by unqualified agents, emphasizing the need for regulatory measures. The Minister of Works, David Umahi, has debunked viral media claims, stating that he approved the disbursement of 9.3 billion naira designated for road construction to a microfinance bank. His special advisor, Media, Uchenna Orji, in a statement, described the report as malicious, stating that Umahi was the governor of Ebonyi State at the time the project was awarded. The statement noted that the release of the funds for 62 projects to the bank was conducted between June and December 2023, when the minister was still in the Senate. A former president of the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors (NIQS), Mr. Samson Emiowele, advocates for collaboration between the Federal Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning in the formulation of annual budgets and development plans, specifically concerning infrastructure projects. Speaking at the NIQS leadership retreat in Abuja, Emiowele expressed regret over the current practice of assigning arbitrary figures to infrastructural projects for budgetary inclusion. He emphasized the significance of well-researched and articulated information from the Institute to enhance the budgeting process. He suggested that the Institute should explore strategic collaborations with the federal government involving specialized agencies the legislature, parastatals, media, and advertising agencies, as well as related professional bodies.
For full details of the news and more finance, housing and construction news, do well to visit www.africanhousingnews.com. The Kpegi Estates named 1,000 housing units, one of the creations of the former FCT minister, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, was built to mark Abuja at 30. This settlement initially signified hope through a federal government housing project. However, the reality today paints a different picture. Housing Development crew visited Abuja at 30 settlement. Now here are our findings.
Hello, we are right here at Abuja 30 village, popularly known as 1,000 units. We are here to really see how the people here are surviving. We believe, when you're coming in, you will not even know that people are living here, but we're about to listen to them to know what they are going through, how they're able to survive in a place like this. Join me as we enjoy this journey.
Taking a tour of Abuja, little will you know that there's a place called Abuja 30 Village, a small resettlement properly documented under Amak local government area, was initiated by former FCT minister Nasir El-Rufai in 2006. Today we delve into the stories of these residents, exploring both the positives and the challenges they face. We spoke with Mrs. Juliana, a tailor deeply affected by the prevalent issues in the community.
I've stayed in this community, Kpegi community, Abuja at 30 for the past close to 10 years, since 2015, if I'm not mistaken. So the insecurity here, seriously, we need government to do something about it, because I can't go out to Kuje town and come back around 7 without fear. So everything is not going nowhere, and you can see our road is very bad. The development, like I'm a fashion designer, and you can see the way my shop is, and because of the structure of the shop, people don't come to patronize. They feel a shop like this don't have good things in it.
Community Association Chairman Mr. Taiwa Derime shares his historical background of Abuja 30 Village and sheds light on the challenges faced by the community.
The community have been living on its own, a country of its own, a state of its own, a local government of its own. When you see the power lines around here before NEPA and PHCN was liquidated and privatized to what we have as the distribution company, transmission company and distribution companies now, the residents took it upon themselves to grade roads to their plots when the Department of Development Control under AMMC of the Federal Capital Territory failed in their responsibility. Abuja at 30 was conceived then under Malam Nasir El-Rufai in the year 2006 to commemorate the anniversary of Abuja in the year 2006, which was established in year 1976 at 30. And we have the Abuja at 30 village, which you must have, you took note of on your right. That is the housing unit, which is numbering about 479 in room and parlor, as well as 2-bedroom. blocks of flats. But it's unfortunate that the 1,000 units is yet to be completed about almost 20 years down the line. It is a lack of continuity that caused the setback of that project.
Beyond the voices of the residents, we inquired about the state of healthcare in the community.
The healthcare system, there is a health center somewhere down there under the general hospital in Kuje town. So the healthcare system, the healthcare center functions, normally only that. The community also tries to augment the government effort by engaging in some community projects to develop the health center. But there's a health center catering for the immediate health issues in this area.
Mr. Adamu Emmanuel shares insights into the responsiveness of the local healthcare facility.
Yes, it's effective. There are other private healthcare centers, hospitals, clinics, pharmaceutical outfits that are private, but the government operated health center is the one I'm talking about.
However, the roads seem to pose a significant challenge, as witnessed by this man repairing his tricycle due to damage caused by the unmotorable roads. To salvage their security issues at night, we inquired about street light, and this is what she had to say.
That street light, just like that, one day they just came and put either it's like 6 poles and it's solar, and none of them is working now. At the time they mounted it, it was working, but none of them is working now. Even the road, there was a time they graded the road, nothing. So that's just the major problem we are facing. So another one is our crops. When you farm, they will just come and Fulanis will just come and scatter it. By the time you talk, they will just mess that person up. It's a lot. Can you imagine a lady like that was coming back from lesson because of the phone they are dragging from that girl? They have to cut off that girl's arm in order to collect the phone. So we are just begging, let them locate us.
We made a stop at the school in the community, although the school had told us that a lot of structures are already being developed by the government, which connotes a sign of hope.
See the development ongoing in this particular resettlement known as Peggy resettlement, but ceremonially known as Abuja 30 village. See, this place has been in existence since 2006 under the administration of the former FCT minister, His Excellency Nasir El-Rufai. And you can see all that has been going on in this place. But there's still something. We see our bad roads here. We see have some structures that are abandoned due to insecurity. We are calling on the government to please come to our rescue, to come to the rescue of the people in this residence and see what they could come up for them. Some people don't have light, some have water, some don't have water. We believe that the government could come to their rescue. Reporting from Abuja 30 village, Brown Mike Ebo.
Life in slums is far from glamorous as families are cut off from the most basic services. Settlement dwellers live in anxiety and are deprived of safe, healthy and dignified conditions for living. The living conditions of Achalla Community in Anambra State is on the spotlight today.
Housing TV Africa visited the vibrant but quiet Achalla Community, nestled in the heart of Awka North, Anambra State. We delved into the daily challenges faced by its residents and uncovered the realities that shape their lives. We posed some crucial questions to the residents, aiming to understand their experiences. Firstly, we asked, what challenges do you face as a resident in Achala, specifically in areas of water, power supply, insecurity, bad roads, and waste management? Our team observed various aspects of Achala to bring you a comprehensive overview. The major roads, including the major entrance, seemed properly tiled, well maintained by both the community and passing vehicles, although the inter roads weren't looking the same.
Ọkụ na-adị, ụzọ na-adị mma n'ọkọchị, mana ọ bịa n'ubi mmiri sometimes ọ na-emebi emebi. Ọ dị adịsị mma. Afịa anyị bụ oyi. Ọ na-azụ sosu bụ shuo, but ọ na-azụ some na-adị ordinary day.
Access to water is abundant, with individual houses enjoying the benefits of the stable power supply, ensuring a continuous flow of clean water.
Okay, the living condition. We have lights here. Every blessed day, 24 hours we have lights. Then we have water, 24 hours. But the small problem we have is the load. But I know by the special grace of God, everything will be okay.
However, security remains a concern in Achala, with reports of occasional incidents like kidnapping and armed robbery, urging residents to exercise caution. When we spoke to a resident of Camera, she told us that our men in masks came occasionally to rob or kill in the community. Another main observation was waste management. Little to no strategies in place, evident from littered streets and markets. Monthly sanitations, while mentioned, seem to have limited impact in Achala, a community filled with resilience and warmth. Challenges exist, but so does the spirit of its people. As we wrap up our visit, we hope to shed light on the areas that need attention and commend the community's efforts in maintaining its charm.
The living conditions in Achala, Awka North local government area in Anambra State. You're watching Housing Development. As people attempt to meet their immediate need for shelter, many low-income urban dwellers end up with poorly constructed shelters in locations that are unsafe and highly vulnerable to disasters and other types of environmental degradation. What risks are associated with living in slum settlements? Let's watch as some Nigerians react to this.
The risks involved in those places there are all kind of vices. People find themselves in fighting, quarreling. You find youths coming up with stealing abilities and skills. All these Yahoo boys at a smaller level. You see all these kind of things coming up in the slums because no guidance, and you find that the level of interaction and education is low, mostly in such areas. So some of these things come up. So I would advise the government to look into these areas of housing.
For those involved in slum, let me start with the health perspective. For the health perspective, I believe the place is not safe, it's not conducive for humans to live. Because if you have seen how the slum is, let's start with the water that they drink. With the current outbreak of cholera now in Nigeria, you see that there's high outbreak of cholera. Why? The water is not conducive enough for them. Not talking about the environment, it's not hygienic enough for them. So if there is a spread of disease, if the COVID-19 really hits Nigeria the way it hits other countries like the US, I'm not sure most people in the slum are going to survive it because of the spread. Employment is the first thing the government should do, and there should be provision of incentive for those living in those areas. Provision of incentive would be very nice for them, and free education. I think education is just the backbone of everything.
One of the risks is one is flooding, bad environment, insecurity. At times training children in such environment is really unacceptable, very, very risky. And again, most importantly is flooding. Like the area that I'm staying now, the issues that we have there now is flooding. Each time that even a little rain can cause a very big flooding. They can lose houses, human beings at times. Yeah, I'm sure of what I'm saying. So my advice to the government is in such area they should locate them, provide security, good roads, housing, yes, and employment to the youth.
Voices on the street there. One thing is certain, families living in slums lack the crucial conditions they need to live decently and strive as human beings. Everyone deserves a safe and decent shelter. Let's go for a short break. I'll be back.
Thank you, AIHS, for the opportunity of this exhibition. It was a nice experience. I would like to make it again.
Thank you, AIHS. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, AIHS.
Thank you, AIHS.
Welcome back. You're watching Housing Development. Housing deficit is a global phenomenon and it is not in any way peculiar to Nigeria. In Nigeria mostly, it is recognized that the majority of the people who are in demand for housing are low-income earners. Against this backdrop, Maimuna Bagudu will be having a discourse with a housing expert, an affordable housing advocate. Hello, Maimuna.
Hello, Flora Annie.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm very well, thank you.
All right, the floor is all yours.
Thank you so much, Flora.
Welcome to Housing TV Africa. I am Yemena Bagudu. Today, I have a guest with me here in the studio, and we'll be discussing about issues facing affordable housing in Nigeria. I have Engineer Ojo, Olawale Ezekiel, and together we'll have lots of questions asking him. As a professional, he will be giving us all of the basic solutions and also how we can be able to solve this problem. You're welcome, Engineer Ojo.
Thank you very much.
Excited to have you today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure seeing you.
Same here. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about what do you think the government should consider before embarking on the 50,000 units annually? What's your take on that?
Thank you very much. I will want the government to, before embarking on that 50,000 units a year, they should do a proper review of the previous housing programs in the nation to see some of them succeeded, some of them failed. They should look at what made them to succeed and what made some to fail. From that analysis, from that review, they will be able to come up with some strategic guidelines that can help them to know how to deliver these 50,000 housing units. The failure of the past, they'll be able to correct it. The weaknesses in the past, they'll be able to correct it. For instance, in the past, some of these units were sited on political reasons. Some of these units were sited because of housing demand instead of housing needs. And so you see that most of these units are abandoned in the bush. Some of them have been burnt over and over because it was based on housing demand instead of housing need. There is no way you can get a need and those houses will be abandoned.
True.
So that's the problem we're having now, is that the people we are serving or we tend to serve based on our housing demand are the people that have already owned houses everywhere. So they don't need it, they are just speculating. Why the people in need, they are pushed aside. So if you actually get the people that are in need, I'm telling you, those buildings will not be sitting down there. Some of them have been vandalized, some of them have been burnt, especially in some of the parts of Nigeria. So we should look at it critically. Housing needs and housing demand. There must be a clear cut in that area. Then there must be justification when you look at political reasons for citing those units. If you say, oh, certain number must go to my constituency, the question is there any housing need in that constituency? So when you build, those things remain there. So we must really look at it. There must be a clear-cut definition. That's why I say review of the past housing program in the past government, and see whether they fail. We need to look at it. We need to evaluate and see the impact.
So viewers, welcome to the end of today's interview with Engineer Ojo Olawole Ezekiel, who happens to be the Executive Director of Shelter Origins. I'll see you next week.
All right, thanks Memuna Bagudu for that insightful interview with housing experts. At this point in the country, the role of social housing is crucial. It provides a home for people who cannot otherwise access one. It builds communities and gives people support, which helps them to live healthy, happy lives. The importance of housing cannot be overemphasized, especially for low income in the society. Thanks for watching Housing Development. I remain your housing diva,